In today's video, we're going to be talking about who I think is going to be the next NHL captains for teams that currently do not have a captain. Starting off with the Vegas Golden Knights, I went with Jonathan Marchessault, and this was a pretty easy one for me, but a lot of people, Vegas fans, and just NHL fans in general, will probably disagree with me. A lot of people throw the name James Neal around, but he's actually a coming free agent, so it's going to be interesting to see if he even stays with Vegas, but I think ultimately he will, just because of the success that they have been showing so far this season. And why would you want to leave a team that's doing so well and you're just having so much fun? And he's had a pretty good year besides the injury. And then obviously you have guys like Riley Smith, William Karlsson, who are just playing unbelievable. Everyone on this team is playing out of their mind, but in my opinion, Jonathan Marchessault just embodies what a captain should be. He works hard on both ends of the ice. He comes up with the most clutch goals in situations where Vegas needs him most to step up. He certainly does that, and he's a little guy, and he gets in the corners, he gets his hands dirty, he hits, he just does everything. And when the rest of your team sees the littlest guy on your team doing stuff like that, it has to uplift the rest of the team. Like, if he's doing that, we can go do it with him. And Marchessault has been their best player this season. He led the team in points with 75. Obviously, William Karlsson got a lot of the coverage because of how many goals he scored and how he was scoring them. Obviously, with that through the legs goal alone, I mean, that really just got him a lot of coverage from the media throughout the whole year. And another guy, if I didn't have to choose Marchessault, or if I wasn't allowed to, I would probably choose Nate Schmidt, which is kind of a controversial one, but he also embodies a leader to me. He's always smiling, he's great with the media, and he always just has a really happy morale. So I think that's kind of needed from a captain. He's an uplifting guy, and he's been logging a lot of minutes throughout the season and throughout the playoffs. So I'd go with Marchessault, but if I had to pick a second, it would be Nate Schmidt. Up next, we have the Buffalo Sabres, and I decided to go with Jack Eichel, and a lot of people will probably say that he doesn't deserve it, but his career, we haven't really seen his full potential just yet because of the injuries, obviously, that have been holding him back. He played in 81 games in his rookie year, but the most he played since then is 67 in this past season, and that was the most points he's ever scored. He had 64 points this past season in just 67 games, so he was up there with around a point per game. So he had a solid season, but obviously just cut short by injuries. He's only 21 years old, but in today's NHL, you see a lot more teams giving the faith and putting the captaincy on young players. And Eichel was their second overall pick in the 2015 NHL entry draft, behind obviously Connor McDavid, so he doesn't get too much recognition because obviously McDavid is a generational player. But I think Eichel has the potential to be a top 5 player in the NHL. He's just obviously, like I said, been injured a lot, and that really does kind of suck for a guy so young. But hopefully next season he can play in all 82 games and show that he can be a leader. And I think if Buffalo gave him the captaincy, that would give a real boost to his confidence, knowing that your team and the front office and just the organization in general believes in you. Obviously, he kind of already knows that as they selected him with such a high pick, but giving him the captaincy, I think, would be great for Jack Eichel. If I had to pick a second player, if I couldn't pick Jack Eichel, I would probably go with Ryan O'Reilly. To me, he embodies a leader as well. He's very good in the defensive zone, and he's a hard-hitting guy, and just a great leader in general. You always see him going over to play in the World Championships and stuff for his country, and that just shows that he loves to play the game of hockey. He's never really been in a situation to win, but hopefully now with the Buffalo Sabres getting more young talent, like obviously with the first overall pick coming up, and hopefully a healthy Jack Eichel next season, maybe they can turn it around and make a push for the playoffs next season. But I'd go with Jack Eichel, but if I had to choose a second person, I would probably go with Ryan O'Reilly. Next up, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs. This was a pretty easy one for me. The former number 1 overall pick, 40 goals in his rookie season, 4 goals in his first NHL game. He had a fantastic year, over a point a game, but obviously with that shoulder injury, it caused him to miss, I believe, 20 games. So you're hoping he can stay healthy, and really looking like he's not going to be an injury-prone player. He played in every game in his rookie season, and obviously just it's a freak accident. Injuries happen in the NHL and stuff like that, but I really do think this team has full confidence in this guy. I think they should have gave him the captaincy this year, honestly. A lot of people would say that's too soon, but like I said before with Jack Eichel, more and more teams are giving captaincies to young players, like obviously Colorado with Gabriel Landeskog. I think they gave it to him when he was like 19, which is crazy. And then you have Connor McDavid, obviously. So I think they should just go ahead and give it to Austin Matthews. Another thing, like Jack Eichel, I think it could help him knowing that your team has all the confidence and faith in you to lead the team. And I think he already knows that, but I think just having the C on his jersey would be kind of weight off his shoulders, not knowing if he's ever going to get it or who they're going to give it to. I think giving it to Matthews would be a good thing for the team. But if I wasn't allowed to choose Matthews, I would probably go with Patty Marleau, which which is kind of weird because we don't know how long he's going to be there, but he's a very, very solid veteran. In my opinion, he could potentially be a Hall of Famer, and he's just played in so many NHL games, so many playoff games, a lot of meaningful games, and he's just a great leader, a great guy, and yeah, so if I had to choose a captain, obviously I'd go with Austin Matthews, but secondly, I'd probably choose Patty Marleau. Next up, we have the Arizona Coyotes, and I feel as though if anyone is going to disagree with anything I have on this list, it's going to be this one, and I chose Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Now, a lot of people would say, give it to Clayton Keller, as obviously he's going to be your future franchise forward, but in my opinion, Ekman-Larsson's been with the team for his whole career, the 6th overall pick back in 2009, and he's been their best player since then, and since Shane Doan hung them up, he really has been their franchise guy, and I don't really think he's gotten a lot of credit for being that guy in Arizona. He's currently an alternate captain for the team, and yeah, like I said, a lot of people would probably choose Clayton Keller, and I wouldn't really be against that. If I had to choose a second guy, I think it'd be Clayton Keller. Clayton Keller may be third because I think I might put Derek Stepan ahead of him because Stepan is also a great leader. But in my opinion, Ekman-Larsson is the best overall player on this team currently. Obviously, Clayton Keller is going to take over that in the next coming years because he's just going to be an absolutely amazing NHL player. But I think they should just go ahead and give it to Ekman-Larsson since he's been with the team so long. He's been their best player, arguably, since Shane Doan has left. So I think you should just put your confidence in this guy. He's a great, solid two-way defenseman, and I think it would really help Ekman-Larsson and benefit him to know that the team has faith in him to be the leader. And obviously, down the line in the road, Clayton Keller will probably be the captain of this team, but I think now maybe you should just go ahead, give it to Ekman-Larsson. He's 26 years old in his prime, so I would go with Ekman-Larsson. Secondly, maybe Stepan, and then probably Clayton Keller. And lastly, we have the New York Rangers, where I decided to go with Matt Zuccarello, and this is some people might not agree with, but I just think he's been with them for so long. He's played his whole entire NHL career with them, ever since joining the league back in 2010. He's 30 years old, so he's a grizzled little vet, and he's a little guy, like kind of with Marchessault, doing all the little things so well, and he's been arguably their most consistent player throughout the past years. Obviously, Rick Nash coming through there, and they're kind of in a rebuilding stage, and I think he's the perfect guy to give the C to just kind of lead the young guys in the right direction. He's been putting up great points for the most part. Obviously, his best NHL season coming with 61 points back in 2015, but putting up 53 the past year and 59 back in 2016. He puts up good offensive numbers, and it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to age. Like little guys, like you've seen it with Marty St. Louis, he was still good towards the end of his career, but it's kind of hard if you get slower and you're small in such a fast-paced NHL with big hits and stuff like that. It'd be kind of harder to keep up, but I think he's just a great leader, obviously great offensive talent, and in my opinion, he's been their best player for a while, and especially after Ryan McDonagh was traded at the deadline, I think he definitely has the label as the best player, and I think they should give him the captaincy. He's a good guy to lead the young guys in a good direction. If I had to give it to somebody else, I would probably choose Chris Kreider, who at this point in his career, I can think you can consider him a veteran, but I think kind of he might have a bit too, play with a little bit too much of a chip on his shoulder to get the captaincy, is obviously he has some incidents where he crosses the line a little bit, so I would go with Matt Zuccarello, but secondly would probably be Chris Kreider. So that is going to wrap up the video. I really hope you guys all did enjoy. Make sure to let me know down in the comment section who you guys think should take over and be the new captains for these franchises currently who have the vacancy in the captain spot. So like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for more daily NHL content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.